Hey everyone, I'm Nikki. I'm getting ready to leave Central Illinois. I was here for a cannabis vacatur and expungement hearing, and it just made me want to do a little something to give you a little information about the cannabis expungement laws that were just passed in 2019. I think whenever there's a new law that gets passed, there's this window where everyone's really confused about what it means. Like, even if you know the law and you've read the statute, a lot of times in practice, it doesn't always work the way you think it'll work. And a lot of times there's a lot of misinformation floating around, and this law is definitely no exception. So I just wanted to clarify a few things, and hopefully it'll be helpful for clarifying for the folks who have arrests or convictions for cannabis what's eligible for expungement and what that means. So there's actually two categories of eligible cannabis cases under the law. One of them is the automatic expungement category, and that category is for folks who've been arrested or convicted of possession of cannabis of under 30 grams of cannabis. And if you fall into that category, your arrest or low-level conviction will be automatically expunged. Now, I put automatically in quotes like that because automatic isn't exactly what you might think it would be. So first and foremost, when we talk about the automatic expungement process, you should know that it only applies to law enforcement records. So that means police records, which means that the records that live within the court, which would live in the circuit court, are not getting expunged automatically, right? It's only the police who are expunging those. So that's the first part of it that isn't necessarily automatic. If you want the clerk to go in and expunge those records also, you still have to file a petition and motion to expunge. The other part of it that isn't necessarily automatic is that these things aren't happening overnight. Like, as you can imagine, there's hundreds and thousands of cannabis records. So they can't necessarily go in and just click a button and then all the police have expunged them everywhere. These records live in different places and it can take time. So the legislature has given the police and law enforcement agencies a 4-year window to get those expunged. So even if yours does qualify for that, it doesn't necessarily happen today or tomorrow. The good news is that you can just proactively file a petition to expunge these cases. You don't have to wait for anyone to do anything automatically. You can proactively go out and do it yourselves. Now, the other category of eligible cannabis convictions is for possession of cannabis cases for under 500 grams of cannabis. So these are a little bit higher level, right? We're looking at class 4 possession of cannabis and higher level misdemeanor cannabis convictions. A lot of these are going to be eligible to be expunged as well, but they don't fall under the automatic expungement category. These are cases where you have to actually file a petition to vacate and expunge the conviction and have it heard by a judge. And these are actually discretionary, so the judge doesn't have to grant the relief. And the things that the judge will consider in deciding whether or not to grant the relief is how old the person was at the time of the conviction, how long it's been since the conviction, and how it would negatively impact that individual to have that conviction on their record. And then at the end of that, the judge will make the decision of whether or not to grant the expungement. So that's just another little piece of information. I know a lot of people say, well, I was convicted of felony cannabis case, so that means it can't be expunged. That's not necessarily true. It depends what felony you were convicted of. Now, for folks who have higher level cannabis convictions than that, like maybe you have a conviction for manufacture delivery of cannabis or something like that, those don't qualify for the automatic expungement, but they do qualify for sealing. And you can also apply for a pardon with the governor's office and go through that traditional pardon process and see if the governor would be willing to pardon that conviction. Now that the sale of cannabis is legal, you'd have a good argument. But it isn't automatic, it is discretionary, and at this point they don't qualify for expungement unless you're getting it pardoned by the governor's office. So hopefully this information is helpful to you. I know that this is a really dense area of law and can be really confusing, but I strongly encourage you, if you've been arrested or convicted of anything cannabis related, to start looking into these issues because there may be some relief available for you. All right, thank you.